the power of the unspoken. Silence can feel heavy. It can be a void that stretches between us and the world. In a world buzzing with noise, where words spill out of mouths like water from an open tap, silence stands out. It is powerful, it is often misunderstood, and it is a tool that can deepen your understanding of yourself and your interactions with others. Imagine a moment of silence in a busy cafe. People chatter and phones beep around you, but within this chaos you sit quietly. You notice the swirling thoughts in your mind. You can feel your heartbeat. In this stillness, you find clarity. You observe all that is happening without needing to react. This is the essence of silence. It is not just the absence of sound, it is an active space for reflection. In Stoic philosophy, the value of silence is profound. Stoics understood that the words we choose to speak and the moments we choose to remain silent shape our lives. They recognized that speaking every thought that crosses our mind can lead to chaos. Instead, silence invites us to pause, reflect, and respond wisely. Think of a time when you were caught up in a heated discussion. Perhaps you reacted too quickly, words spilling out before you had time to think. In those moments, the noise can drown out your reason. When we speak without reflection, we often regret our words later. The Stoics taught us to embrace silence, to create a space that allows us to respond rather than react. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote about the importance of inner calm. He encouraged us to observe our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without rushing to judgment. He knew that our ability to choose our response is what gives us true power. By practicing silence, we can gain control over our emotions and thoughts. Consider how silence can serve as a protective barrier. When someone confronts you, their tone may carry anger or frustration. If you immediately respond in kind, you may escalate the conflict. But if you take a moment to remain silent, you create an opportunity for understanding. You can choose to engage with compassion rather than defensiveness. In that silence, you gather your thoughts. You protect your inner peace. In the moments of silence, the mind becomes a mirror. It reflects our true selves back to us. Think of it like sitting quietly in a room. The echoes of your thoughts bounce off the walls. You can hear your fears, your hopes, your desires. In this space, you can learn about what truly matters to you. Silence fosters resilience. When we allow ourselves to be quiet, we create strength within. You might feel the urge to fill the silence with chatter or idle talk. But when you resist that urge, when you sit with your thoughts, you build a foundation of resilience. You learn to face discomfort without needing to escape into words. Many people fear silence. They worry it signifies weakness or uncertainty. In truth, it takes courage to remain quiet. It takes strength to sit with your discomfort and allow thoughts to settle. The Stoics understood this. They practiced silence to cultivate wisdom. They recognized that the things we do not say can often speak louder than the things we do. There is also power in listening. When we are silent, we are often better listeners. We can hear not just words, but the emotions behind them. Think about a time when someone shared a story with you. If you had been busy preparing your response, you might have missed the deeper meaning of their words. Being silent allows us to truly hear others. It creates connection. In the world of social media, we are bombarded with opinions and judgments constantly. Everyone is eager to share their thoughts, but often these words are surface level. They do not invite deep conversation. When you choose to speak less and listen more, you stand out. You become a person of depth. You become someone others want to approach for meaningful dialogue. As you navigate your day, consider moments where silence might serve you. Maybe it is during a challenging conversation, or perhaps it is in a meeting where thoughts are tossed around like balls. Instead of jumping in, take a moment. Let the noise settle. Offer your thoughts only when you feel grounded. This is the practice of Stoicism. Imagine arriving at a crossroads in your life. You feel pressure to make a decision quickly. People are waiting for your answer. They want you to speak, but deep inside, you feel uncertainty. In this moment, silence can guide you. Instead of rushing, pause. Take a breath. Give yourself time to consider your values, your desires, and your goals. Here lies the beauty of Stoic wisdom. It teaches us that the space between stimulus and response is where we find our freedom. Silence allows us to explore that space fully. It helps us connect with our core beliefs and principles. When you take time to reflect, you reclaim your power. You become untouchable, not because you are unfeeling, but because you are centered. Let us embrace the wisdom of Epictetus, another great Stoic teacher. He reminded us that our power lies in what we can control. No one can take away your ability to choose how to respond. When we practice silence, we affirm our control over our reactions. We also acknowledge that not everything requires a response. In situations of conflict or pressure, ask yourself, do I need to speak now? Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes silence is the strongest response. It can express more than words ever could. It communicates thoughtfulness, consideration, and respect. When faced with criticism, consider pausing. Let the initial sting fade. In that quiet moment, reflect on what the person is saying. Is there truth in it? Can you learn from it? Or is it simply noise meant to provoke? By allowing silence to fill that space, you can respond with grace rather than anger. As you begin to explore silence in your own life, remember that it may feel uncomfortable at first. The world often pushes us to fill every moment with noise. But when you take a step back, you can find strength in that discomfort. You may discover new insights about yourself and the world around you. Take a moment now to envision a scenario. Picture yourself in a conversation that usually leads to conflict. Can you see yourself pausing? Can you feel the silence envelop you, creating a space for calmness? Allow that image to settle. This is a practice. You may not get it right every time, and that is okay. Each moment of silence is an opportunity for growth. Silence is not always about saying nothing. It is also about saying what truly matters. The Stoics believed in the power of meaningful words. When you choose to speak, let your words be thoughtful. Let them reflect your values. In doing so, you honor the power of silence that came before them. To find balance in your life, invite silence in. Create moments where you can step away from the noise. Whether it is during meditation, a walk in nature, or simply sitting with your thoughts, embrace these moments. They will nurture your inner strength and help you become untouchable in a world filled with chaos. As we close this chapter on silence, remember that it is a powerful ally. It can guide your interactions and deepen your understanding. By saying less, you invite clarity into your life. You create space for reflection, resilience, and growth. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, remember the power of the unspoken. Embrace it. Let it shape you into a person of depth and strength. The journey toward mastering silence begins with a single step. Allow yourself to pause, reflect, and respond wisely. You are capable of this. Embrace the gift of silence and discover the strength within. Silence as inner strength. Silence is often seen as a void, a gap to be filled. Yet within that void lies incredible power. It is in silence that we can find our inner strength. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that true clarity arises not from the noise around us, but from the quiet moments within ourselves. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting in a crowded room. People are talking, laughter fills the air, and the sounds of conversation swirl around you. Now picture yourself stepping away from that noise. You find a corner where you can sit quietly, away from the chatter. In that moment of stillness, take a deep breath. Feel how the chaos fades. This is the beginning of embracing silence. In our daily lives, we are often caught in the rush of words. We feel the need to fill every silence with conversation. We worry that silence may lead to awkwardness, to discomfort. But in truth, silence is a space for reflection. It is a place where we can gather our thoughts and connect with our feelings. It allows us to respond to the world with intention rather than react out of habit. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed. Perhaps it was during a heated discussion, or maybe it was simply the noise of a busy day. What if, instead of reacting immediately, you paused? What if you took a moment to breathe and let silence settle over you? In that pause, you could find clarity. You could choose your words carefully. The Stoics believed that our responses define us. By embracing silence, you step into a stronger version of yourself. Silence also invites us to listen. When conversations become loud and chaotic, it is easy to lose track of what others are saying. Yet when we embrace silence, we create space for listening. Listening is more than hearing words. It is understanding the feelings and thoughts behind those words. This depth of understanding allows us to engage more meaningfully. Consider the teachings of Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher. He often spoke of the importance of focusing on what is within our control. When we allow noise and distractions to dictate our reactions, we give away our power. However, through silence, we reclaim that power. We choose when to speak and when to listen. We choose how to respond. When we practice silence, we also learn about ourselves. Each moment of silence can reveal our fears, desires, and values. It is in these quiet moments that we find our true selves. Picture a time when you felt lost or uncertain. Did you take a moment to sit in that discomfort? Did you allow silence to guide you? If you did, you may have discovered insights that changed your perspective. Silence can also be a protective shield. When faced with criticism or negativity, it is easy to react defensively. But by embracing silence, you can create a buffer. You can observe the situation without immediately reacting. This space can help you respond wisely rather than emotionally. As Seneca said, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. In silence, we can separate our fears from the truth. There is strength in restraint. Choosing to say less can be an act of courage. It is an acknowledgement that not every thought needs to be shared. Instead, ask yourself, is what I want to say necessary? Is it kind? Is it true? If it does not meet these criteria, perhaps silence is the better option. Let's take a moment to think about someone you admire. This could be a friend, a mentor, or even a historical figure. Reflect on their communication style. Often the people we admire are those who choose their words carefully. They speak with intention and purpose. Their silence speaks volumes. This is the strength of selective communication. By saying less, they allow their words to carry more weight. Think back to a time when you felt misunderstood. Perhaps you were in a conversation where your words fell flat. In that moment, silence may have felt like a burden. However, if you had taken a moment to pause, to reflect, you might have found a better way to express yourself. Silence would have allowed you to gather your thoughts and find a deeper understanding of the situation. We often underestimate the power of stillness. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you are walking in nature. The sounds of birds and leaves rustling create a symphony of quiet. In this moment, you can feel your thoughts begin to clear. Nature offers a perfect reminder of how silence can nurture our minds. In those moments, we become more aware of our surroundings. We reconnect with ourselves. What if you took this practice into your daily life? Consider creating intentional moments of silence in your day. This could be as simple as setting aside 5 minutes to sit in stillness before your day begins. Or perhaps after a busy day, you find a quiet corner and take a few deep breaths. Allow your mind to settle. Observe your thoughts without judgment. As you cultivate these moments, you will notice the difference. You will become more resilient. You will respond to challenges with clarity. You will find that silence strengthens your inner resolve. This strength is not about being unyielding. It is about having the ability to navigate life's complexities with grace. Sometimes we may fear that silence means weakness. However, the opposite is often true. Choosing to remain silent in the face of provocation is a sign of strength. It takes courage to hold your tongue, to avoid engaging in conflict. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. The Stoics taught that our responses define us. By mastering silence, we master ourselves. Take a moment to think about your relationships. Are there times when silence could improve your interactions? Perhaps during a disagreement, rather than insisting on your point of view, you could listen in silence. This could open new pathways for understanding and healing. As we embrace silence as inner strength, we also acknowledge that it is not always easy. There will be moments when the urge to speak is overwhelming. In those times, remember the power of the pause. Allow yourself to sit with your thoughts, to feel the discomfort of silence. This is where growth happens. In conclusion, silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is an invitation to strength. It is a space for reflection, listening, and understanding. By saying less, you become more. You cultivate resilience and clarity. You align your words with your values. Let silence be your ally in a noisy world. Embrace the strength it offers. Allow it to guide you in your interactions and personal growth. Each moment of silence is a step toward becoming untouchable, a path toward true inner strength. Remember, you have the power to choose silence, and in that choice lies your strength. Words as double-edged swords. Words are powerful. They can heal or hurt, build bridges or create walls. Every time we speak, we unleash a force that can impact ourselves and others in profound ways. We often forget that words are double-edged swords. They can cut through confusion and illuminate truth, but they can also slice through relationships, creating division and discord. Let us take a moment to reflect. Think back on a time when your words caused unintended harm. Perhaps you were caught up in a moment of anger or frustration, and you said something you later regretted. In that moment, did you feel powerful, or did you feel a weight pressing down on your spirit? Silence offers us a choice. It gives us the chance to pause before reacting. In this pause, we can connect with our inner self. We can reflect on what we truly want to say. The Stoics understood this well. They taught us that we should think carefully before we speak. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal writings, often reminded himself to be mindful of his words. He believed that our speech should only serve a purpose, to help ourselves and others. Consider the impact of silence in your daily life. How often do you find yourself speaking to fill a void? In conversations, do you feel the need to respond immediately, even when you are not sure what to say? This need to fill silence can lead to misunderstandings. It can create noise where understanding is needed. When we learn to embrace silence, we start to notice things we often overlook. The subtle cues in another person's body language, the feelings behind their words, or even our own emotional responses. Silence allows us to tune in to what is truly happening around us. It shifts our focus from simply reacting to actively listening. Imagine sitting across from someone who is sharing a personal struggle. Instead of jumping in with advice or your own experiences, consider sitting with them in silence. Offer them your presence. Sometimes that is all someone needs. The gift of listening without interruption can create connection and foster trust. Now, let's take a moment to step back and recognize that silence does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you have nothing to say. In fact, choosing silence often requires great strength. It requires self-control and humility. This is a cornerstone of Stoic practice. When you choose to refrain from speaking, you are asserting control over your impulses. You are claiming your power rather than handing it over to the moment. Your words hold weight. They shape perceptions, influence decisions, and leave lasting impressions. When you respond in the heat of the moment, you may surrender your truth to the noise of the situation, but when you let silence enter the conversation, you reclaim your agency. You give yourself the chance to respond thoughtfully. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control how others react to our words. However, we can control how we choose to express ourselves. Let us consider a situation where someone challenges your beliefs or criticizes your actions. The immediate urge may be to defend yourself, to speak out and justify your position. But instead, you can choose to pause. This pause creates a space for reflection. What would it look like to choose silence in that moment? By allowing yourself to breathe and consider your response, you may find clarity. You may realize that engaging in conflict is not where your energy should go. Instead, your energy can be directed towards understanding and growth. To practice this, start small. In your daily life, when you feel the urge to speak, take a deep breath. Count to 3 before responding. Notice how it feels to hold back for just a moment. This act of pausing becomes a practice of strengthening your inner resolve. As you explore the power of silence, you may find that your relationships deepen. People will appreciate your ability to listen. Your presence will become a source of comfort. The more you practice this, the more you will embody the Stoic wisdom of measured speech. Think of the conversations you have with close friends or family. When was the last time you really listened? Or did you simply wait for your turn to speak? Embracing silence allows you to fully engage with those you care about. You create a space where their feelings and thoughts are valued. Silence can also guide your decision-making. When faced with a tough choice, rather than rushing to a conclusion, take a moment of silence to connect with your values. Consider what matters most to you. This can help you navigate choices with intention rather than impulse. In the midst of life's chaos, remember that saying less can lead to greater clarity. You may find that you respond more wisely, more thoughtfully. The Stoics believe that the quality of our thoughts and words directly impacts the quality of our lives. By embracing silence, you align your speech with your values. Now, if you find this perspective resonates with you, consider subscribing to this channel. Join us on this path to inner strength and clarity. Returning to the idea of relationships, think about how silence can foster healing. In moments of conflict, instead of shouting or arguing, consider taking a step back. Allow the silence to settle. This space can diffuse tension. It can create an opportunity for genuine understanding. The Stoics encouraged us to reflect on our thoughts and actions. They understood that by practicing silence, we create a foundation for thoughtful responses. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, taught that our words should align with our character. When we speak from a place of truth, we build trust and strengthen connections. As we navigate our lives, let us remember that silence is a choice. It is a conscious decision to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. This practice does not mean denying your thoughts or feelings. Rather, it means holding them with care and intention. In moments of silence, you allow yourself to step back from the storm of emotions. You create a sanctuary for reflection. This is where true understanding emerges. You can find strength in the stillness. It is here that you connect with your authentic self. So as you move forward, remember that saying less can lead to becoming more present, more aware, more authentic. Your words are precious. Use them wisely. Embrace the quiet moments. Let silence shape your interactions and deepen your connections. In doing so, you will cultivate resilience. You will find strength in your stillness. You will become untouchable, guided by the wisdom of silence. The journey toward mastering your words begins with the decision to pause, to listen, and to reflect. As you practice this, you will see a transformation not just in your life, but in the lives of those around you. Observing before responding. As we explore the power of silence, let us take a moment to observe the world around us before we respond. This act of observation is more than simply watching. It involves engaging fully with what is present. It means being aware of our surroundings, our emotions, and the thoughts that arise within us. When we pause to observe, we create a space for ourselves. This space allows clarity to emerge from the chaos of our minds. Imagine a busy street. Cars rush by, people chatter, and life moves at a rapid pace. In the middle of this, you stand still, taking a breath. You notice the sounds, the colors, the expressions on faces. You are not lost in the noise. You are aware of it. This moment of stillness transforms how you experience the world. It serves as a reminder that you can choose how to respond to the noise rather than allowing it to dictate your actions. In the practice of Stoicism, observation is a vital tool. It helps us discern what is truly important. We can see the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. Epictetus wisely taught that we should focus on our own thoughts and actions rather than the actions of others. This principle invites us to observe first, before reacting. Take a moment to reflect on a time when you felt overwhelmed by a situation, perhaps a disagreement with a friend or a conflict at work. Your initial instinct may have been to jump in, to defend yourself, or to react emotionally. But what if instead you took a step back? What if you observed the feelings rising within you, acknowledged your thoughts without judgment, and allowed yourself to breathe? This is the essence of observing before responding. When we practice this, we can see the situation from a broader perspective. We may realize that our feelings are valid, but they do not have to dictate our response. We can choose to wait and think, allowing the emotional waves to settle before we engage. This pause can prevent unnecessary conflict and lead to deeper connections. Seneca, another Stoic thinker, often emphasized the importance of measured speech. He believed that words should be chosen carefully, as they hold great power. When we speak impulsively, we risk saying things we may later regret. By observing first, we give ourselves the gift of wisdom. We allow our words to reflect our intentions rather than our fears. Let us consider how this might work in practice. Picture a situation where someone makes a hurtful comment. Your first reaction might be anger or disappointment. You feel your heart race and your mind start to churn with responses. But instead of reacting immediately, you pause. You take a deep breath and observe your feelings. What is it that has triggered this response? What underlying fears or beliefs are at play? In this moment of observing, you may find clarity. You recognize that the comment is more a reflection of the other person's struggles than a truth about you. This insight can shift your response. Instead of responding with anger, you might choose to express empathy. You might say, "I hear you and I can see that you are upset." This simple shift can transform a moment of conflict into an opportunity for understanding. This brings us to another aspect of observation. It is not only about looking outward, but also turning inward. Self-reflection is a key component of Stoic practice. When we observe our emotions and thoughts, we gain insight into our own character. We learn what triggers us, what brings us joy, and what causes us pain. This understanding is the foundation for wise responses. Let's consider the idea of silence as a tool for observation. When we choose to be silent, we create a sanctuary. In this quiet space, we can hear our inner voice. We can reflect on our values and intentions. Silence allows us to connect with our true selves. It is in these moments that wisdom often reveals itself. In today's fast-paced world, silence can feel uncomfortable. We may fear silence, thinking it leaves us vulnerable. Yet embracing silence can lead to profound strength. It is an act of courage to sit with your thoughts, to listen without judgment, and to allow clarity to unfold. As you practice this, consider the moments of silence in your own life, perhaps during daily routines like walking, cooking, or even sitting in traffic. Can you embrace these moments? Instead of filling the silence with distractions, allow yourself to be present. Observe the thoughts that arise and the feelings that come up. This practice will strengthen your ability to pause before responding. You might also incorporate brief moments of silence during conversations. When someone speaks to you, try to resist the urge to respond immediately. Take a breath, observe their words and the feelings behind them. This simple act of pausing can enrich your interactions. It shows that you value the conversation and are willing to engage thoughtfully. In this journey of observing before responding, remember that it takes practice. It is normal to slip back into old habits, to react without thinking. But with each attempt, you build a new skill. You strengthen your capacity for resilience and clarity. This is where the teachings of Stoicism come into play. They remind us that we are not defined by our reactions, but by our ability to choose how we respond. We may not control external circumstances, but we can control our inner responses. As you cultivate this practice of observation, you will notice changes not only in yourself, but in the relationships around you. Others may respond differently when they see you taking the time to listen and reflect. Your calmness can create a ripple effect. It can invite others to pause as well. Therefore, in moments of conflict or confusion, remember the power of silence. Embrace it as a way to gather your thoughts. Allow it to be a space for reflection and growth, both for yourself and for those around you. In closing, consider the wisdom found in the stillness of observation. It is a path to understanding, resilience, and authentic connection. By saying less and observing more, you become untouchable. You gain control over your reactions and deepen your relationships with others. So, as you nurture this practice, remind yourself that silence is not empty. It is rich with potential. It is a pause that can lead to profound insight. With patience and intention, you can transform your life through the art of observing before responding, cultivating stillness within. Silence has a unique power. It holds a space where we can reflect, digest, and grow. When we embrace silence, we allow ourselves to delve deeper into our thoughts and feelings. In a world that often pushes us to fill every moment with noise, this can feel counterintuitive, yet it is in this stillness that we can cultivate strength and resilience. Think for a moment about the last time you felt overwhelmed. Perhaps it was during a heated discussion or when faced with a tough decision. In those moments, the chaos around us can drown out our inner voice, making it hard to hear our own thoughts. It can feel like we are standing in a storm, buffeted by the winds of opinion and expectation. Now, envision a different scenario. Imagine standing in the eye of that storm. There is calmness, clarity, and a sense of control. This is what silence can offer us. By choosing to say less and engage in moments of quiet reflection, we can find our way back to that center. The Stoic philosophers understood the importance of silence well. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, often wrote about the need to examine our thoughts and reactions. He encouraged looking inward rather than reacting outwardly. When we pause to reflect, we invite stillness into our lives. This allows us to respond with intention rather than impulse. Consider this: when someone confronts us with anger or frustration, the natural instinct is often to react in kind. We may feel the heat rising, our hearts racing, and our minds cluttered with immediate responses. However, if we take a moment to breathe and listen, we can gain clarity. We can see the situation from a different angle and choose a response that aligns with our values. This practice of pausing before responding can transform our conversations. When you allow silence to fill the space, you demonstrate respect for the other person's words. It shows that you are present and engaged. You are not merely waiting for your turn to speak, but truly listening. This can foster deeper connections and understanding. Picture a dialogue where one person is speaking passionately about their feelings. If you interrupt, the moment is lost. However, if you let them finish and take a moment to absorb what they have said, you may find the conversation deepens. The silence that follows may lead to insights that neither of you anticipated. To nurture this practice, begin in your daily interactions. When you find yourself in a conversation, resist the urge to fill every pause with words. Allow silence to breathe. Notice how it changes the atmosphere. You may feel uncomfortable at first, but with practice, you will grow into this stillness. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that we cannot control what others say or do, but we can control our response to it. This is a source of power. By choosing silence, you reclaim that power. You no longer react blindly. Instead, you respond thoughtfully. In moments of conflict, remember that silence can be your ally. When tensions rise, stepping back and embracing quiet can allow emotions to settle. You may find that the situation changes when you return with a clearer mind. You can approach it from a place of understanding rather than defense. Let's consider another aspect of silence, its role in self-discovery. When we allow ourselves to be quiet, we create a space for introspection. This is where we can ask ourselves important questions. What do I truly believe? What do I want in my life? Too often we rush through our days without pausing to reflect. In the busyness of life, the answers to these questions can get lost. But within silence lies the opportunity to reconnect with ourselves. Take time each day to sit in stillness. This could be as simple as 5 minutes of quiet reflection. As thoughts arise, acknowledge them, but let them pass. With practice, you can learn to observe your thoughts without becoming attached to them. This is a fundamental Stoic practice. Learning to recognize that our thoughts are not always truths, but simply thoughts. As you develop this habit, you may notice shifts in your perspective. You may become more mindful of your emotional responses. You may find that your fears and worries do not hold the same power over you. This is the art of practicing silence. It allows clarity to emerge. Moreover, silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is an active choice to engage with what matters. It is about finding depth in our interactions and in ourselves. When we embrace silence, we open ourselves to deeper understanding, both within and with others. You might find inspiration in the words of Epictetus, who taught the importance of focusing on what we can control. He reminds us that our thoughts and our reactions are within our power. Silence supports this teaching, offering a chance to step back and examine our thoughts before we act. As you continue on this path, remember that each moment of silence is a gift. It is a chance to check in with yourself and your values. By practicing silence, you become untouchable. Your emotions no longer dictate your responses. You operate from a place of clarity and strength. In conclusion, consider the role of silence in your life. It is a powerful tool for cultivating stillness within. By saying less and reflecting more, you invite resilience and control into your interactions. You create a space for growth, understanding, and meaningful connection. So, the next time you find yourself in a whirlwind of thoughts or emotions, remember the power of a pause. Allow silence to guide you. With each moment of stillness, you are building a foundation of strength that can withstand the storms of life. Embrace this practice and watch as it transforms not only your responses, but also your relationships with those around you. Practicing mindful silence. As you cultivate this practice of mindful silence, you may begin to notice it transforming more than just your thoughts. It can reshape your very interactions with the world. Imagine yourself in a conversation. You are listening, truly listening. Instead of rushing to fill the spaces with your own thoughts or opinions, you choose to simply be present. You let the other person share their ideas, their feelings, without interruption. In this space of silence, you allow understanding to blossom. This is what silence does. It creates room for empathy to grow. When you hold back your words, you give the gift of your full attention. You begin to see the world through the eyes of others, and this is a powerful shift. You may start to notice nuances in their expressions, feelings behind their words, and perhaps even discover shared experiences that you had not seen before. Recall the teachings of Seneca, who spoke of the value of listening more than speaking. He encouraged us to remember that we are given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. The act of listening is a profound way to engage with another person. It shows respect. It deepens relationships. When you embrace silence in conversation, you foster a sense of trust. The other person feels valued, and the connection you build can become a source of strength in your life. Now, let's take this a step further. Imagine you are facing a difficult situation. Perhaps a conflict has arisen in your personal life or at work. The instinct might be to respond quickly, to defend yourself, or to argue your point. However, what if instead you chose silence? This pause allows you to assess the situation calmly. You can take a deep breath and reflect on how you truly feel. This moment exists between the stimulus of the conflict and your response. In that silence, you can ask yourself important questions. What is really happening here? What do I want from this situation? What might the other person be feeling? By not reacting immediately, you have created space for clarity. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. You take control by stepping back, allowing insight to arise naturally. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of breathing and the stillness within. He understood that the power of silence isn't just external, it is deeply internal as well. When we embrace silence, we give ourselves the chance to reflect on our values, our principles, and our intentions. This self-reflection is essential for living a good life. It helps us align our actions with our beliefs. Silence can reveal parts of ourselves that we may ignore in the noise of daily life. When was the last time you spent a moment in silence to reflect, to simply sit with your thoughts? This practice is not always comfortable. It can bring up feelings we may prefer to avoid. Yet, it is in this discomfort that growth happens. Think of a time when you faced a challenge. Perhaps you felt overwhelmed by emotions. In that moment, did you find a way to pause, to sit with those feelings? Each time you practice this, you strengthen your ability to handle life's ups and downs. With every moment of mindful silence, you prepare yourself to face the world with resilience. Consider how silence allows you to take ownership of your emotions and reactions. When you refuse to react impulsively, you reclaim your power. You say to the world, "I am in control." In the same vein, silence can act as a shield against external pressures. In a world that often demands quick responses and constant engagement, saying less can be revolutionary. It can make you feel untouchable. You are not swayed by every opinion or comment. You stand firm in your beliefs. You become like a tree, standing tall in a storm, unbending but rooted deeply. This rootedness is cultivated by your practice of silence. It is not about being unresponsive or disengaged. Rather, it is about being selective with your words and actions. Each time you speak, ask yourself if your words serve a purpose. If they do not, perhaps it is better to remain silent. Silence can also enhance your decision-making. When faced with choices, take a moment to pause and reflect. In this stillness, you can weigh your options. You can consider the values that matter to you. You might ask yourself, how will this decision affect my peace of mind? This careful consideration can lead to choices that nurture your inner strength. As you practice this mindful silence, observe how it affects not only you, but those around you. You may notice that others become more open when you listen. They feel less pressure to perform or prove themselves. This creates a nurturing environment where honesty and vulnerability can flourish. In personal relationships, silence can soften tensions. When disagreements arise, a moment of silence can act as a balm. It allows both parties to breathe, to gather their thoughts, to approach the conversation with a clearer mind. This shared moment can shift the dynamics from conflict to cooperation. Think back to the times when you felt the urge to fill dead air with words. Reflect on how often those moments led to misunderstandings or unnecessary arguments. If you had chosen silence instead, what might have changed? Mindful silence is a practice that needs nurturing. It requires patience and dedication. Start small. Perhaps set aside a few minutes each day to sit in silence. Notice your thoughts without judgment. Over time, you will find it easier to pause in conversations or when faced with challenges. You might also explore silent spaces in your day. When walking, take the time to observe your surroundings without speaking. Let the world unfold around you. Feel the ground beneath you and the air on your skin. This simple practice can help deepen your awareness and reinforce the value of silence. Remember, the goal is not to be silent all the time, but to appreciate the balance. Speaking is important, and words hold power. But silence offers a different kind of strength. It is an opportunity to reflect, to listen, and to respond mindfully. As you make this practice part of your life, reflect on what you learn about yourself. Over time, you may notice a shift in how you feel. You may find that your reactions become more measured, your relationships deepen, you feel a sense of control even in uncertain situations. In a world that often values noise and haste, embracing mindful silence can be a radical act. It empowers you to step away from the chaos and into your own center. This practice can free you from the constant pull of external expectations, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. So, let silence be your ally. As you journey forward, remember that in the stillness you can discover your true self. By practicing mindful silence, you not only say less, but you also invite depth, connection, and resilience into your life. Embrace this gift and let it guide you toward becoming untouchable in the storms of life. Embracing the untouchable you. In our busy lives, silence often feels like a luxury we cannot afford. We rush from one obligation to the next, filling our days with noise and chatter. But in this moment, let us reflect on the power that resides in silence. Embracing the untouchable you requires this quiet strength. It allows you to navigate life's storms with grace and resilience. Think of a time when you were overwhelmed by noise. Perhaps you were in a crowded room surrounded by conversations that blurred together. The sound was deafening and you felt lost. Now, imagine stepping away from that chaos. You find a quiet corner, breathe deeply, and listen to nothing but your own heartbeat. In that silence, you reclaim your space. You find clarity. This is the essence of being untouchable. Silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a powerful tool for self-reflection. When we give ourselves the gift of silence, we create room for our thoughts and feelings to emerge. We can observe them without judgment. It is a space where we can process our experiences and respond with intention. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of inner stillness, suggesting that we should focus on what is within our control. Silence helps us draw boundaries between ourselves and the external noise. It reminds us that we are not defined by the chaos around us, but by our inner dialogue. Imagine sitting quietly with a notebook. You are not writing to impress anyone or to fill the pages with clever thoughts. You are simply recording your truths, your fears, and your hopes. In this simple act, you are embracing the untouchable you. You are giving voice to your inner self without the need for validation from others. As you practice silence, you may notice something interesting. Your relationships may deepen. You begin to listen more. When you choose to remain silent, you create a space for others to share their thoughts and feelings. This exchange fosters connection. People appreciate being heard. Your silence can encourage them to open up in ways they might not have before. Consider the power of a single question asked in silence. When you pause after posing a question, you allow the other person to reflect. You invite them to explore their thoughts without the pressure of immediate response. In this shared silence, a deeper understanding can emerge. You become a source of calm, a steady presence in a world that often demands quick replies. Yet, silence is not just about forbearance in conversation. It extends to our reactions in times of stress. When faced with conflict, the instinctual urge may be to react immediately, to fill the air with words that may only escalate the situation. Instead, practice the pause. Before responding, take a breath. Allow yourself that moment of silence to collect your thoughts. This simple act can transform a heated exchange into a more thoughtful discussion. Imagine a scenario where you are confronted in a meeting. A colleague challenges your idea. Your initial reaction might be to defend your position passionately. But what if instead you paused? You take a deep breath, allowing silence to fill the space. In that moment, you gain control over your emotions. You can respond thoughtfully, expressing your perspective without the baggage of defensiveness. This is the path to becoming untouchable, knowing that your worth is not tied to the approval of others. By cultivating this inner strength, you free yourself from the need to respond in haste. You embrace the clarity that comes from silence, allowing it to guide your actions. The practice of silence is not a one-time effort. It requires dedication. Start by setting aside moments in your day for quiet reflection. You may find that during your morning coffee, instead of scrolling through social media, you sit in stillness. Focus on the warmth of the cup in your hands, taste each sip, and allow your thoughts to settle. As you integrate this practice, you might also explore silence in your surroundings. Take walks without the distraction of music or podcasts. Listen to the sounds of nature, the rustling leaves, the chirping birds, the gentle hum of distant life. These moments remind you that silence is everywhere, waiting to be embraced. Over time, as you cultivate this relationship with silence, you will notice changes within you. Your reactions may become more measured, your feelings more stable. You may find yourself feeling more grounded, even when life tries to knock you off balance. The untouchable you emerges, resilient and centered. As you become more comfortable with silence, you will also learn to appreciate its depth. It is a powerful teacher. In moments of silence, insights arise. Solutions to problems that once felt insurmountable become clear. You begin to trust your intuition, recognizing that the answers often lie within. This is the beauty of embracing silence. It allows you to connect with your authentic self. You start to know who you are beyond the noise of daily life. You understand your values, your passions, and your desires. This self-awareness empowers you to step forward with confidence, making choices that reflect your true nature. In a world that often prioritizes the loud and the fast, embracing silent strength is a gift. It is an act of rebellion against the chaos. By choosing to cultivate silence, you create a sanctuary for your mind, heart, and spirit. You learn that you do not need to fill every moment with words or activity. There is power in stillness. As we close this chapter, I invite you to reflect on what it means to be untouchable in your life. It is not about being impervious to hurt or pain. Instead, it is about finding that inner center of strength that allows you to weather any storm. Let silence be your companion on this journey. Embrace it as a source of resilience, clarity, and connection. Each moment of quiet brings you closer to understanding yourself more fully. Remember that saying less often leads to a deeper engagement with the world around you. As you move forward, remember that the untouchable you is already within. It thrives in moments of stillness, in breaths taken before responding, and in the quiet strength that you cultivate day by day. Allow this silence to guide you and watch as your life transforms. If you wish to explore this topic further, consider reading the Anti-Manipulation Manual, Stoic Tactics for Clarity, Boundaries, and Inner Control, available on Amazon. It offers deeper insights into the power of silence and how you can harness it to live a more authentic life. May you find peace and strength in every silence you embrace.